So I'm going to try to knock out a couple of videos real quick before I lose the sun. Got bothered by the cops again today. And some bird watchers. Some were cool. I'll get into that. There'll be another video on that. There's another video coming very, very soon on, well, we'll see. Discussing some stuff about the cops. There's going to be a few videos on that. This one I think I'm going to try to make this one pretty short. This one is going to be about this one's going to be about one of the reasons, one major reason why I worry for my niece, my oldest niece, Adriana, and how she's being raised. And I'm just going to be recounting something that happened that I think about once in a while that makes me go like, what should I do about that? So I think by now I've already established that I've had major back issues since I was 13, 14 years old. So it was well known to everyone in my family by the time my niece, Adriana, was born, that Kate's got some pretty serious back issues. She throws her back out pretty regularly, and she can't move very well without any help, and will often be laid up on the couch or in bed for like a solid week. So it was well established at that point, by the time my niece came around, that I have some back issues. So my sister, of course, knew that. My sister Megan, who is my oldest niece's mother, Adriana's mother. At one point, so for the first 3 years of my niece's life, roughly, first 3 years, we all lived together in Ventnor, in a house that my mom was renting in Ventnor. So it was my mom, my stepdad, my sister Megan, and my niece Adriana, and I. My sister Megan was working part-time at the hospital, or full-time at the hospital, I don't remember. She was like an aide, nurse's aide at the hospital, and going to nursing school, and my mom and my stepdad were just going to work, back and forth to work, and I was home all day with my niece. So, and this was, again, so for the first roughly 3 years of my niece's life, solid every day, me there doing stuff for my niece, with my niece. Not my responsibility, not something I had to do at all. I sacrificed years of my life, and not just the first 3 years, like for a whole year after that also. My sister then wound up moving into a little one-bedroom apartment right down the street from my grandmother's house, where I was, because I was helping to take care of my grandfather too, at that time, he had dementia. So at that time, I was also, when my sister would work 3-4 days a week, I would be the one watching my niece then too. So for the first 3 years, solid every day, and then for at least like about another year and a half, like 3-4 days a week, I was Aunt Caddy / backup mommy. So just establishing that, my sister Megan really she definitely owes me a lot. I in no way was responsible for taking care of her daughter, and I put my life on hold to do that, and did it to the best of my abilities, considering I had little to no parenting experience before that, and I was dealing with a lot of issues with my, struggling with stuff that my mom had done up to that point, yeah, and like put everything I had into my niece. So in terms of attention, energy, thought, worry, so on and so forth. So my sister really does owe me a lot when you get right down to it. She's given me nothing to pay me back for what I've done to her, for her. Nothing. She gave me $2 once in a little card as an apology. It was written out from Ducky, from Adriana, when she was like 2 years old. Because she had pissed me off, and she knew, I suspect she still very much needed me to help take care of Adriana, because she would have been up shit creek without a paddle. If she didn't have me there being a nursemaid to her daughter for free, for nothing but room and board that my mom was paying for. She was paying to rent a house, and I got to live in a room there. Thanks. And wasn't even really paying for my food because I was living off food stamps. I was living off of candy bars and soda, whatever I could buy with food stamps from the nearby Wawa. Because the closest grocery store was like a drive away, and I didn't have a car. So I for like 3 solid years, I lived off shit that I could buy with food stamps. So I got room and board. For 3 years, being a nanny, nursemaid, mommy, backup. Like, again, just consider what those people typically get paid when they do it for a job. You know, how much does a daycare worker person get paid? A nanny, a nursemaid. Added up for 3 years, every day. My room and board, my one room in a 4-bedroom house that was $2,000 a month to rent. So my room would have been like $500 a month. Doesn't even come close to covering what I'm owed for my labor. I'm not trash. I was not put here to serve my sister or fix her mistakes for her. I was put here to pursue my life. I put it on hold out of love and the kindness of my heart and sense of responsibility and a sense of doing what was right, because I'd rather I be home taking care of my niece than have her being taken care of by a stranger at a daycare or something. Although we're a pretty big family, they might have been able to find other options. Although, like, really what should have been happening was my mom should have been home taking care of my niece, and making sure that I finished school, since my mom convinced my sister to have a baby that she couldn't take care of on her own. And my mom told my sister, and then relayed the same message to me, was recounting what she said to my sister, was like, just have the baby, I'll help you take care of it. She said, I'll help you. I remember my mom told my sister that she would help my sister take care of the baby. And to me, I immediately thought in my mind, well, because I know I have a translator for my mom in my head. And so the translator kicked in and went, you mean you'll make everyone else help her take care of the baby. You're not going to do anything except what you want to do. You'll play with the baby and stuff like once in a while when you want to have fun and be fun, cute, sweet Mimi, sweet grandma, but you're not going to do the shit work, the grunt work for the baby that you don't want to do. You're going to do the work you want to do. You're going to go to your job and make money and pay the rent. And then what she did was, she said, well, I'll pay the rent and you can have a room in the house. And when your sister is done with nursing school and gets her job, her nurse's job, she'll be squared away, and then we'll get you squared away and get you back in school and get you your degree. She never did. So, I didn't do what I did only in exchange for that. I think I just mentioned several reasons why I took care of my niece. But also, if you promise me something and you're my mother, you should effing keep that promise. And there's many other, reasons why. So Okay, so, sorry, getting down to it. So I was just setting up a little bit for you guys. So we're living in Ventnor. At this point, Adriana was at least a solid 2 to 2.5 years old. So we're coming up towards like the end of the 3 years that we were living together in Ventnor, New Jersey. It's just south of Atlantic City. And I threw my back out real bad. And I was laid up in my bed, in my bedroom, and could barely move. Could barely move. It was a real bad one. Sometimes it's so bad that, like, I can barely get myself to the bathroom. I desperately need help, or I'm, like, crawling. Good luck trying not to pee yourself when you're crawling on the floor with a really stiff, awfully painful back. Good luck. So and I had to pee. I was laying in bed. My sister knew. She was well aware that I'd thrown out my back. She'd been made well aware. I'd thrown out my back. She was home for the day. She was off. And my mom and my stepdad had gone out to work. So it was just my sister Megan and my niece Adriana, who was about between 2.5 years old, and myself. And I was upstairs in my room, in bed, barely able to move, and like weeping off and on, like, why is this my life? And then I had to pee. And so now, like, Megan, and literally the bathroom was next to my bedroom. It was like a few feet, but even the thought of that was like a nightmare, of even like trying to get up and walk that on my own. I knew I couldn't. So I was calling for my sister, for Megan. Megan, please, I need to use the bathroom. Please, can you help me? And I knew I could hear her downstairs. That's how the house was. It was an older house, backed up against the canal in Ventnor, on Winchester Avenue. And I knew it was that kind of house. You know, it wasn't too big, and lots of noise carried pretty well up the steps. You know, I wasn't like in some back end part of the house. I was literally like practically right above her. My bedroom was practically right above where she was in the living room below. So I'm calling for her, and because I can hear the television down there, and I can hear my niece Adriana, like, some gurgling, and a bit of talking. Like, I know she can freaking hear me yelling for help. Megan, please help me, please. I need help. I need to go to the bathroom, please. I just need someone to help me get up and go to the bathroom, please. Please. You know I hurt my back, please. I'm gonna pee myself, please. Like, at first, I was just calling for help normally, because I figured she's gonna come up and help me. She's my sister, right? She's trained to be a nurse. I've been taking care of her daughter for over 2 years now. Like, I'm in real pain. She knows I have a back problem. It's been this way for years. But after, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes went by, I realized, like, can she not hear me? And then I called more. And it just went on like that until I became more urgent, became more, like, loud, like, and sobbing, like, Megan, please. I knew at that point, like, she can hear me. She's down there. She's right below me. I can hear them. She can hear me. She's ignoring me. She's flat out ignoring me. I'm sobbing and calling for her help. I'm her sister. I take care of her daughter every day for her. She knows I have a bad back problem. She knows. And she's just sitting down there ignoring me. She's just ignoring me. So I did this little maneuver. This was, I think, maybe the second, third time I had to do it, where I just kind of, like, very painfully, like, had to get the gumption up to, like, it's basically all working through pain, like, lots of pain, to, like, roll myself off the bed onto the ground and crawled my way to the bathroom, a few feet over to the bathroom. Later, I told my mom about it, because she'd done this before. Megan had done this before when we were teenagers, actually. We were living in Summers Point. And I was home from school, from Petty, And I threw out my back. And I was laid up on the couch for a solid, like a week to 10 days. And also then, I was calling for Megan's help. Please help me. Please help me. Please. I need help getting to the bathroom. I need help getting up. And then, back then, she ignored me too. And I knew that she could hear me. She could hear me. I knew. I told my mom about it then. And my mom's always been like, it's very much like Jim Jeffries. He's a comedian. He's got this joke. He talks about his mom being kind of heinous too. And he had an older brother who was kind of crazy. That's how he describes him. It's kind of like loopy, do crazy things to get what he wanted, sort of thing. And that was the case one day. I should look up the joke. And that was the case one day. He's recounting how, like, his brother did something crazy. His brother wanted him to get him, like, a Coca-Cola or something, and he refused to get it. And then his brother said, like, if you don't do it, I'll pee on the rug or something. I don't know, something like that. And he still wouldn't do it, and then the brother peed on the rug. And when the mom came home, he thought his brother was going to get in trouble. But his brother said to the mom, like, I told him to get me a Coca-Cola or soda or whatever, or I was going to pee on the rug. And then the mom turned and yelled at him because he didn't get his brother the Coca-Cola. His mom was like, why didn't you get him the Coca-Cola? You know how he is. That's kind of how it is with my sister Megan. The youngest of us is kind of also like the one that my mom just like tiptoes around a bit. She doesn't try to make Megan do much of anything. She tries to make me do shit all the time. Megan, no. So Megan just kind of gets away with shit. She's the baby. It's always been that way. Megan just always kind of gets away with shit. So this time around, the second time around, when Adriana was a toddler and I'd been taking care of her for years at that point, over a couple years, for my sister, for no pay or anything from her. And I was in excruciating pain with a back problem that I had a history of. And my sister chose to ignore me, calling out for help. I told my mom about it again. I just told my mom, like, I was laying there calling for help. I know she could hear me. I know she could. I am not stupid. I know how sound carries in this house. If I could hear them, they could hear me. And my mom came back to me a little bit later. I don't know, like maybe a day or two later, something like that, and said that she had double checked it with my niece. Because my niece was like 2.5. She was old enough at that point to understand the basics of like, Caddy's upstairs. I can hear Caddy calling for help. Mom and Mommy was sitting. Mama, she called her Mama back then. Mama was sitting on the couch ignoring her. So that's essentially what my niece Adriana told my mom. My mom, when she had Adriana alone at one point, asked Adriana, did you hear Aunt Caddy calling for help the other day? And my niece confirmed it. My 2.5-year-old niece confirmed to my mother, yes, she heard me calling for help upstairs, and yes, my sister heard it too, and she watched my sister just sit there and ignore me and not come help me. So my sister modeled basically psychopathic behavior to my niece. She modeled to my niece that when a loved one is in extreme pain and calling for help, that what you should do is ignore them and be cold and callous and not give a shit. My sister was showing that to my niece when my niece was only a toddler. So I think about that sometimes. And I think about, like, what are the other things that my sister's modeling to her that are really unhealthy? Like, that's psychopathic, dude. And it's one of those things where it's like, you almost don't want to think about it too much because it might lead you down the path to the conclusion, like, maybe my sister's a psychopath. I don't know. Who the fuck does some shit like that? Who just sits there and ignores their sister calling out for help in pain and shows that to their daughter, like models that to their 2.5-year-old daughter. You could have just picked your 2-year-old daughter up, walked upstairs, plopped her down in the middle of my bedroom floor, and helped me get, it would take it, I think, probably a few minutes. Like, what, 5 minutes total? Like, it would have felt a long time, I'm sure, because I know it's not easy, as somebody who's been on that end, like, with the one with the back pain, trying to get up. I know it seems like it takes forever, but, like, I'm your sister. I'm your sister. How fucking ungrateful can you be with everything I've done for you? And she's still done nothing. I've been, like, practically starving to death. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a bit more hydrated. I'm noticing on these videos, like, I look super dehydrated, and, like, I've been chugging water for like the last, I think, almost like 24 hours there before my paycheck came through. I didn't even have water. Nearly, like, I was down to, like, nothing. So, yeah. And the Adderall for my ADHD, like, definitely dries me out a little bit more. So, she's seen me. She knows all this is happening. She lives with my mother in the nice big fancy house with the in-ground pool. From what I saw for the couple months in the beginning of the summer that I was parked up there in the driveway, my sister works about 3 or 4 days out of the week, and the other days she spends lounging in the in-ground pool on her phone. And she has the audacity to imply, I need to just shut up about what my mom's done, and just shut up and just get a job. It's like, you think my coworkers could help me get to the bathroom too, Meg? They might actually be more compassionate than you, Megan. Actually, I've had coworkers show more compassion than you for my back problems already. So, can't, because your mother effed me over when she didn't do her job and get my back seen to. And also, I did your fucking job for you as a mother for the first 3 years of your daughter's life, and you've given me absolutely fucking nothing for that. And yet you have the audacity to lounge around in a fucking pool for 3 or 4 days out of the week on a phone. And also, you can't be bothered to do things like, oh, I don't know, brush up on your child's psychology, child development. I don't know, like, do more for your daughter, figure out more things you could be doing for your daughter. You're lounging in a pool. She's still a kid. She's still not, she hasn't aged out yet. But it's like she's 13 going on 14, and it's practically gone into, like, at this age, that, like, this is what my mom did. And, well, she did this well before we reached our teens, actually. But I feel like lots of parents, it's like when their kids become teens, they switch into, like, well, the teenager's basically done developing, and they're just practically taking care of themselves thing. Like, all I am is like a landlord at this point. It's like, no, they're not done developing technically till they're 26. Like, physically, they're not even done developing till they're 26. There's a lot more you could be helping a teenager to develop, rather than just kind of letting them. I mean, they do need to, like, their own space, but I don't know. And another thing that's very concerning that I think about kind of often. My sister, Megan, as far as I've seen or heard, has not had a romantic relationship, a boyfriend, anything like that, since my niece was born, since my niece's father. My niece is, like I said, she's 13 going on 14. That's about almost 14 years of no romantic relationship. No kind of partner, anything like that for my sister. Also, that I've seen and heard of, no real friends, no real good bestie friends or anything. She does not go out and, like, hang out, have drinks or anything with friends or anything like that, or go out on dates or anything. Nor does she have friends over. I have not seen her, and trust me, like, that would be such a rarity. Like, people would be gossiping about it in my family. Like, my mom or my other sister would have been like, oh my gosh, did you hear Megan has a friend? You know, like, Megan lives in her room eating when she's not working or driving my niece back and forth to her dance recitals and stuff. And that's my sister Megan's doing with my niece like what my mom did with me, in terms of my sister Megan wanted to be a dancer and a gymnast. It didn't work out for her. And so she's got all the gumption and energy in the world to support my niece in being what she wanted to be. We'll see what happens when my niece decides she wants to pursue other paths than what my sister would like. So, yeah, that seems to be that's like the only bit of motivation my sister has to like leave the house. Is, you know, when she's living vicariously through my niece, or when she's going to work, like 3 or 4 days a week. Other than that, she sits in her room and eats and watches television, or YouTube or whatever, and or she lounges in my mom's in-ground pool. This means, so the person that my sister really spends the most time with, and who I've seen more and more looks like she's turning into like her bestie friend in a lot of ways, you guessed it, is my niece, which is really inappropriate. That's kind of how we get, I mean, with males at least, that's how we get Norman Bates. Norma and Norman Bates. Yeah, Norman Bates, for those of you who don't know, was the killer in Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Norman was named after his mother, Norma. And if you understand psychology, it's not hard to break down what happened there. The father wasn't around. The mother likely raised the son to be like her little replacement husband. There didn't have to be any physical incest, but there would have been emotional and psychological incest. She would have crossed many parent-child boundaries. She would have made her son responsible for her emotional well-being, her emotional support, her validation. She would have made her son in many ways like her friend. She would have maybe confessed inappropriate things to her son, like about her love life or what have you. These are all things that are really inappropriate and will mess up your kid. You can never raise your child up to the level of being like your friend. They can't, it's its own special relationship, parent-child relationship. It can't be a friendship, because with friends you unload your grievances, your worries, and there's supposed to be an equal give and take of emotional support and validation. And like, I think I've said this in a previous video, but it's worth saying again. Parents should never make their children responsible for validating them or emotionally supporting them. And parents should never be unloading their worries or anything like that, or problems onto their children. Never. Not even their adult children. Ever. So you can never be friends with your kid. Not really. Never. You can't. It's really inappropriate. It steals their childhood from them and causes them all kinds of psychological issues. Quite often they'll end up hating their mother subconsciously without even realizing it, and that's how we get a Norman Bates. Now, with a female. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, buddy. My boy's trying to, my boy cat is trying to get up into his little cubby, and I closed the curtain there. Sorry, I'll fix it in a minute, buddy. Sorry, so what was I? You're okay, bud. Yeah, with a girl, it hopefully, likely, statistically, she'll turn out a bit less severe, like, hopefully, less severely psychologically damaged and emotionally damaged, but still there will be damage and trauma. She has a better chance of recovering than her male counterpart, but still. I think the point for parenting is to avoid causing your children unnecessary trauma and pain, psychological, emotional pain and suffering. You're not supposed to be friends with your kids. Never, never, ever, ever. I do not see my sister with any other kind of an outlet. Nothing. Nothing. No, again, no friends her age that she goes and chills with on a regular basis. I've heard nothing about anything like that. Or a partner, a romantic interest, anything like that. She hangs out with her daughter. That's really inappropriate. But she doesn't seem to understand this yet. Again, I hear from her and my other sister and my mom all the time. We know psychology, Kate. Again, you're not living as if you do. I'm a pretty ornery person. I'm not Little Miss Social Butterfly. My sister Sara is. Megan and I have always been a little bit more like, we have smaller groups of friends, and we're very, just, we don't need to be around people all the time. We're cool on our own for long periods of time. So I totally get that. But even I, understand the necessity to keep friends my own age, try to keep those relationships alive. I'm not saying I'm very good at it. I'm a terrible friend in terms of I'm not good at staying in touch. I'm not the best at all. Not only I don't think about people and my friends and worry about them and wonder how they're doing and stuff, I just never get around to sending out that message, that text or whatever. Not never, but not as often as I should. But still, I have friends. I still maintain adult friendships, and whilst recently I haven't been pursuing any romantic relationships, been putting that on hold because I'm busy with research and such, and putting the whole goal of having a family on hold, maybe even indefinitely, depending on what the outcome is to my releasing the information about this cult that I've been researching. It just might not be fair at all to have a kid and bring them into a situation where it's your mother is hated by lots of very influential, economically well-off child rapists. They really want her unhappy. So, you as her child would be a perfect target. So I don't know that now I could bring a kid into that. So I am really making very big sacrifices, I think, for a very selfless cause. Not doing it for attention or gratitude. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And because if you know that kids are being horribly abused, you need to try and stop that. You don't just pretend that's not happening and go about your business. So that would be, I think I spoke in the last video about qualifying as a human being. That's one of those things. I don't understand how you could do something like that and still think you qualify as a human being. A Homo sapien, maybe. A trained monkey. But not a human being. So I'm not really doing anything with my life right now that I really wanted to do. I guess in a way I'm being like a mother, but not in the way I wanted. And it's one of life's little jackass tricks. You're getting what you want, but not exactly how you wanted it. Fuck off. Yeah, you're taking care of kids, you're protecting kids and stuff, but you're not holding your daughter and singing to her and cooking for her and stuff. And you have to think about the fact that your jackass mother had 3 daughters and threw that golden opportunity to just give of herself everything she could to them and really focus on them, just threw it away, focusing on herself and validating herself and throwing temper tantrums when things didn't go her way, which would lead to, bad outcomes for her daughters too. Just threw it away. Some of us would kill for the opportunity to have a husband paying the bills and 3 daughters to raise, and we can just stay home and raise our babies. Maybe not kill. Well, it depends on what I have to kill. And she threw that shit away. Because nobody validates her for, sitting at home, just giving of herself to her children. Being a mother is a thankless job. I mean, it really shouldn't be. It's the most important job. And really, that's a big part of, like, the husband's job, is you're supposed to be thanking her. Nobody's around thanking her. She just has children sucking the life out of her all day. It's a really important job. It's really nerve-wracking and stressful. And you should thank her every day when you come home that your house isn't burned down and your children are still alive and that they have manners and such. You should be like, thank you so much, honey, for not raising little psychos. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. That's not reality. Moms do not get thanked nearly enough. They don't get the attention and validation and applause that they deserve. And so and that's cool with, like, a non-narcissistic mom, a real mother who is just a giving soul who just, like, that is her validation. She loves nourishing and nurturing and taking care of her kids. And feeding them and teaching them but for a narcissistic mother, that's not enough for her. She needs to get the applause. She needs people to tell her she's a good little girl. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. What a wonderful mommy. She needs to hear that. Okay? So that will always translate into the kids will not get what they need, because a lot of what kids need is stuff that the parent is not going to get any thanks for. And a narcissistic parent absolutely they just can't be bothered to do what they won't get anything for. So, and they'll come up with every excuse in the book why they couldn't do it. I don't remember how I got so far off track. I really want to eat something. Yeah, so that's a couple things that I wanted to get into about my sister and concerns I have for my niece and what's being modeled to her. And I think what looks to me like an unhealthy relationship between my sister and her daughter is, you're not supposed to be friends with your kid. You're just not. It steals from them the sense of safety that they should be deriving from their parent, because you've now raised them to your level. They need a sense of safety and security, even as adults. Like, you're sort of their guiding light ahead of them. When you raise them to be on your level, like up to be like a friend or partner in some way, you're stealing that sense of safety and security from them. You're putting adult burdens on them too soon. You're stealing their childhood from them. And my mother used to do this too when we were growing up. She made me very much all the time, in many ways, responsible for my younger sisters. She used to manipulate me into it for a while at first, till I got wise, for many years, by, making me think that I was more mature and responsible. And she also would pitch it like this, like, we're a team. We're not supposed to be a team. You're supposed to be the parent, we're supposed to be the kids. It's not a team. We're not a team. Like, and she would pitch it like, we're a team, like we're partners. And she would also say to me one thing: you've always been my greatest confidant. Which, again, when I was young, I used to be kind of flattered by that. When I got older and really started to analyze and recognized what was appropriate and inappropriate in terms of a parent interacting with their child, I realized, like, well, first of all, it's true, yeah, I was always her confidant. She, growing up, I was her therapist. She would confide all kinds of inappropriate things to me throughout my childhood, and, yeah, that's how unthinking she is about proper mothering and what's best for your children. Is she used to literally just say it, literally say that to me. You've always been my greatest confidant. She doesn't even think about it long enough to understand how inappropriate it is, because she's so highly narcissistic. She is not thinking about what's best for her children and what she might be doing to mess them up and what she might need to stop doing for their benefit. She is only thinking about what's to her benefit. It's like, it's all there. I'm going to be making more and more videos about all kinds until you'll just see it. It all kind of, the puzzle pieces all click and connect together. Her behavior, all of it, when you realize that you know it's really just all about her. She might be kind of good at appearing like it's about her kids or other people, but that's just it. It's an act. If you really break it down, it's really all about her. She does nothing that she's not getting something for. Even if it's just, again, like a pat on the back, like applause, like, you're a hero, thanks for stopping and saving the day, you know, like, but she can't do something like take her daughter to a back specialist when she's watching her daughter's back deteriorate, because there's no hero applause in that. No cookie, no paycheck, no pat on the back. It's just something she was supposed to do. It's the right thing to do. It was the responsible thing to do as a parent, as a mother, for your daughter. And she didn't do it because she's a narcissist. She's highly narcissistic. So yeah. And I really, really worry about my niece living in that house with both my mother, who's done all the things I've already been telling you guys about, and then some, and with my sister, who has done things like flat out ignored me crying out for help in front of my niece, and is turning my niece into essentially looks like her best friend, which is abuse. It's abuse. And they don't want to hear it when I say these things to them, because it means they'll have to do the really hard work, which is working on themselves, which is changing their own behavior, which is stepping back and taking a true accounting of themselves and their behavior and the consequences and what really needs to be changed, and then really working on it. That's the real work. So, okay. Oh my goodness, buddy, I love you. All right. I'm going to end the video here. I'm hungry. I need to scrounge up something to eat, and I have to feed the cats soon. So I'm going to try to make another one pretty soon. I think I'm going to try to use some of the rest of the light for today. So, but I'm going to end this one now. All right, bye.